Hello, 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 hello. Happy Saturday to everybody out there. This is your boy, Danny Graham. This is my channel, Comic Chat, and I'm coming here to you today, live and in living color, to discuss a little bit, not going into great detail, about the movie Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of Harlequin. I watched it last night. One of the main reasons why I watched because word of mouth. Um, a couple of friends of mine have YouTube channels went and saw it, and they reported back to me that they thought it was very good. So I wanted to see for myself. What's up, Dominican Scott? What's up, the man with the plan? And what's up, Darth Reese? Thank you for joining me. I'm about to send links to a few more people. Bear with me 1 minute. We'll get this show started. I think that's everybody. Okay. Before I get started into my review of Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of Harlequin, I want to say a couple of things I always say at the beginning of my show. First one is thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Your support is definitely wanted, needed, and appreciated. Also, I am wanting you to, if this is the first time you're viewing my channel, please subscribe. Your subscribership is very much needed. Right now, I'm a little over 1,100. My goal is to reach 1,500 by Father's Day, which is June 13, 14, 15, and somewhere in that time frame. Also, if this is your first time viewing my channel, hit the notification bell so I don't want you to miss any material that I upload in the future. And last but not least, please give me a thumbs up. That helps out with the YouTube algorithm, and also it lets me know that what I'm doing is something that you're down with and you appreciate it. And then I'm gonna keep trying to bang out good material. Also, leave comments. Any comments that you leave, I try to check my box every day, and I will always respond to you. Depending on your response, it may be a quick appreciate or something, or if it's an in-depth question, I'll try to give you an in-depth answer. Also, man, on Mondays, check me out. Every Monday night at 9 o'clock, I have a countdown. Usually have 4 or 5 YouTubers on there, and we have a particular topic that I give them a week in advance. This week's topic will be what cartoon intros, or whenever you heard it, when it come on the TV, they got you jacked up and ready to see the cartoon or particular animation you was going to watch. Everyone on the panel will get 3 or maybe 4. And after the name day 4, we're going to have a honorable mention section behind that. So whatever cartoon intro that got you jacked up when you heard it, stuck in your head, and you still remember it to this day. So that's going to be our topic for Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, to cover this show, I gotta make this response. All right. I am sorry for that. Did I respond to somebody about the show? Okay. I went to see the show last night about 9 o'clock. I'd heard from 3 other YouTubers who opinions I respect. And if you watch my past shows, I tell you word of mouth. Either you have either you're familiar with the character, you've read his stuff on or seen it in cartoons or on TV, live action, whatever, or word of mouth is what drives a lot of people to theaters whenever you're not familiar with something, or if the TV spots or the trailers catch your attention, that helps also. But word of mouth is very strong. I was not excited about this movie at all. I haven't read any of the Harlequin comic books. I only learned of her through the animations, and I know that she was on Suicide Squad when it came out. I knew that she was the Joker's girlfriend. I knew that she was crazy like he was, and just the things I've seen here and there. I've heard of the Huntress. I've heard of Black Canary. That cop that Rosie Perez played, I can't think of her name. Never really heard of her. And then there was an Asian girl on there, Kathleen Kane or something, I think her name was. Before I get to this, I'm trying to say this. I don't want to piss somebody off. First of all, disclaimer: I am not a DC hater or MCU hater or DC fanboy or MCU fanboy. I am a comic movie fanboy. I want any and all comic book movies, anything related sci-fi, to be successful. Having said that, this movie was not great, but it was not bad. A word to describe it is, it was okay. One word to describe it as was I was underwhelmed. That is the best word I can say. Underwhelmed. As I said in the theater last night, there were parts of the movie where I was sitting there kind of bored and was like, okay, this is kind of goofy. That's what I said to myself. I'm thinking in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have watched it by myself. I'm not certain. But when I left, I did not have an excitement about the movie, or I wasn't very eager to go out and tell, okay, yeah, man, this movie is awesome. You need to come back and see it. It did not have the end game Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man effect that I usually have when I walk out. When I walk out of those movies, I'm usually kind of jacked up because, man, did you believe they did this, and this? I'm not saying it's not bad. It's not a bad movie. There are worse movies. Thor 2 is worse. Iron Man 3 is worse. I think both the Guardians of the Galaxy are worse. I'm not a Guardians of the Galaxy fan at all. Green Lantern is definitely worse. But if I got to give it a score, 6.5, 7 out of 10. I'm thinking about going back and see it again. When I left last night, I was like, "There's no way I'm going to see this again." But I talked to a good friend of mine. We become good friends through YouTube, and we talked about it last night, probably for about an hour. He has very good insight on comic books and different movies. Some insights and knowledge that I don't have. He usually have because I mean he eats, drink, and sleep comic books. But after talking to him, I felt a little bit better about the movie. But to me, it was just no DC hate, no MCU love. It's just it's not in my top 10 movies. It may not even be in my top 20. I'm not certain. I would have to sit down and really think about it. Now, Harlequin, she stole the show. She stole most of the scenes, in my opinion. When she's on the screen, it was you were just your attention was drawn to her. The Birds of Prey, they didn't do well. Out of the 3 of those, the Huntress grabbed my attention. I like when the Huntress was on there because she was kind of badass. She had that crossbow, and she was like she's about the business. But then you see later on in the movie that she was kind of lacking in self confidence because she was practicing on stuff she's going to say, and how she's going to do things. And without going into it, I'm not going to tell you. But one thing about this movie I did like, it had, whenever you saw a screen, a part in a particular movie, you got confused. Well, how'd that happen? Harlequin would like stop. Then she'd roll. She had control of the film, kind of like how Deadpool does. She said, "Okay, I'm telling you the story, but it's not. It's gonna stop now, and let's rewind." And then the movie actually rewind back to the spot. Then she'll break down the particular scene or what happened, and then she kind of gives you the backstory of a particular scene. So you never scratch in your head about who's that or where that come from or why this happened or blah 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 blah. It skips at first, but then when it starts skipping and gets sporadic, she'll stop the movie literally and rewind it back. Then she explained how she got to that particular part. So I like that part. That was smooth how they did that. She breaks the fourth wall like Deadpool does, and the fourth wall is basically when he's talking to us, the real live people. He's looking at the screen and he's saying something, and he's looking at us and he's saying da da da. Da. She did that a couple times. I think it took that from Deadpool, but I wasn't mad at it because the way Ryan Reynolds does it, it has that rapport with the audience. She has the same rapport when she's talking to us, and it's done in a way that's entertaining and cool. I wasn't impressed with the little girl, Cat, Kate. I can't think of her name, but I was just bored with her. She's a little girl with women, and to me she seemed out of place, out of her depth. Um, Black Mask and Victor Zan. I didn't like the Victor Zan, I think his name Van Zan or whatever, the hitman. Now the one that was portrayed in Gotham, I liked him. He was more, uh, to me, he was more about the business. He was hard. He was charismatic. This guy, he just seemed crazy and off his rocker. You could tell that they were like uh, lovers together. Him and Black Mass. But Ian McGregor played Black Mass. And he was out there. Um, I didn't care for him when he was without the mask. When he put the mask on, he was just like the Black Mask that we see on the cartoon of Superman about the business. Had on the suit, gloves with his initials on the gloves, and he was like cold. When he took off the gloves, he was more crazy and vulnerable. He like in some parts like he didn't. He was real. What's the word I'm looking for? Like he was worried about people looking at him and laughing at him, and he was self conscious, that kind of stuff, and paranoid. Um, but like I said, it was just man. Um, One thing they kept harping on was Harlequin and Joker were no longer together, and Joker kind of gave Harlequin a citywide protection because she could do whatever she want to, say whatever she want to, drink, do whatever. But they know if they mess with her, they had to deal with the Joker. Well, when her and the Joker broke up and it was final, she didn't let people know at first it was like that because she would lose her protection. And so when they found out, that's when like half the city was after her. It was just crazy. Everywhere she turned around, somebody was after her trying to kill. Dominican Scott said I give this movie a minus 9 out of 10. You give it higher than me, bro. I'm giving it a C plus, maybe B minus. Definitely not an A minus. No way. Um, Tony Brown said He Man. I don't understand that. But like I said, if you are a fan of comic books, definitely go check this movie out. Um, if you follow Harlequin, or if you like the Joker and that stuff, it doesn't show him in there, but it refers to him a lot. And he had a lot of clout in Gotham because nobody would mess with her when they knew that they were together. But whenever they broke up and he took his protection off, it was open game, and everybody and their mama was trying to take her out. But like I said, um, I'm not gonna sit here and bash it. because I've seen worse. But at the same time, I can't get here and give it a 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10, 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever the standard grade A rating is. I'm not going to give it that. Like I said, I may go see the second time. I'm thinking about it. But like I said, the word that best described the movie to me was underwhelming. It was underwhelming to me. Um, Other people, other YouTubers I've talked to like it, enjoy it, but like I said, it's So please go check it out. Like I said, we want to support. If you are a fan of comic books and comic book movies, please support this movie. Go see it once. You may like it. You may see other things that I didn't see. Oh, and one other thing that really ticked me off was the end credit scene. I stayed there for an extra 10 minutes while all the credits roll and stuff because they said there was going to be one. And there is something on there. She comes back and she talks about 10 seconds and then she starts to answer a question. And I won't tell you what happens later, but that pissed me off. I was like, I stayed here for that. But it is a post scene credit. It's not like Marvel or DC has done, but there is one. So if you go see it, stay there. Harley fans will probably get a kick out of it, but I didn't. But do we have any questions? If not, I've been on here about as long as I intended on being on here to just, like I said, briefly go over. Tomorrow I'm going to be on another channel. I'll send y'all the link whenever I get the invite. But we'll be discussing it more in depth. Should be me, Sean Stackhouse, the Chad. I'm not sure who he has invited, but it should be sometime tomorrow, about 4 o'clock, maybe 3 or 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But that's it. Again, Tony Brown said, no, Dominican Scott said, how would you rank the DCU so far? I think the DCU is catching up with Marvel. I think they're making better quality films. I think Wonder Woman is gonna be the hit of the summer. I'm looking forward to that. I think she's going to breathe life, or more energy into the DCU. Like I said, this movie wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. I don't, based on the people that were in the theater with me, and based on people that I saw or that sent me other pictures of theaters, it's not going to make the money. And this opening weekend is going to be, it's going to be tight. I don't know if they're going to be profitable this opening weekend. I don't think they're going to be number one. I don't know what movie is going to be number one. I don't think it's going to be Harlequin. But again, I talked to somebody that lives on the West Coast, and he said his theater was full for the most part. But the people that I know that live on the East Coast said, I know last night when I walked in, I was one of three. Before the movie started and they were going through the trailers, I think maybe about 15 more people walking there. So about a grand total between 15 and 20 people in my theater last night, and no one stayed for the post-scene credit. I was the only one in there for that. And you usually don't see that kind of stuff, like Endgame and other stuff, Infinity War, all those other Marvel movies and DC movies. You see people standing in to get that end credit scene, but that did not happen last night. Tony Brown said he man when you was talking about cartoons in the opening that excited you. I got you. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Man, I got one. I don't want to tell nobody, but man, whenever I hear this song, I play it going to work all the time. It came on probably in the 2000s, but they got one of the hottest intros I've heard. So I'm ready to reveal that on Monday night. It'll be my number one. Hello, Just Tariq in his comics. Thank you for joining my show. I appreciate it. Hey, before I get off, man, everybody give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button. I need that. All I got is one like now. And I just made 2. So if you own my channel and you're watching this, go ahead and hit that like button for me. Ninja said, "Hey, comment chat. What's up, Ninja? Thank you for coming, bro. I appreciate the support. Your chance you check out that movie last night or anytime today." Dominican Scott said, "I heard Margot Robbie wants to do a Harlequin movie in Poison Ivy." That's the lady that Margot Robbie. I don't know. I don't know who would play Poison Ivy. I'm telling you, I like if you watch Gotham. Gotham did the best version of all of Batman's enemies on there. There was none of them I didn't like. So they did it very well. If they was to me, the Riddler and Penguin were my favorite, but I'm a Riddler fan. I read some of the novels with a Riddler, or he pushes Batman. If you think the Joker pushes Batman, you need to read some novels where the Riddler is messing with Batman. He pushes Batman just as much. The Joker is more psychotic and more what's the word? More savage, more brutal. But the Riddler ain't no slow leak either. He's always been one of my favorites. Ninja say, "Yeah, I checked it out. I surprisingly enjoyed the movie. Good for you, bro. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It's not great, but it's not bad either. To me, it's just meh. And also, the word to describe it is underwhelming. Now, I will tell you, there's a scene in there where she comes into the police yard and she got these different beanbag bullets. That scene was hot. It was awesome, man. She got the beanbag gun and she probably got about 20 bullets strapped across her chest. And she's pulling them out, man. She's just um, and then she runs out of the bullets and she has to fight with this bat. And man, she's held with this aluminum baseball bat. And there's one move where she like throws it on the ground. It bounces up, hit the guy like in the face, bounces back down, and she catches it. I wanted to hit the rewind button about 4 or 5 times. Rewind that. That one. Now her fight scenes, she must have went to some kind of karate school too, because for someone who's just a psychiatrist, man, she's doing all these kind of crazy scissor kicks and scissor somersaults and flips, and man, it's like judo and Muay Thai box. Man, I don't know who taught her how to fight, the Joker or somebody taught her, but she wasn't no slow leap in fighting. Her and Black Canary probably were the best two fighters. Are you excited for Sonic next week? No, I do not care about Sonic. I may have to go see it because I do this kind of show, but it ain't nothing. The next movie I'm excited to see about is Black Widow, followed by Wonder Woman, then followed by Morbius. I'm not going. I'm curious to see about the Eternals, but they haven't showed a trailer yet. Maybe when they show a trailer and I see something on there that's like, whoa, I get excited. But right now, what excited me about Wonder Woman, man, that part where she's lassoing lightning with her lasso. I want to see that. I want to see that part because that looks like what the hell. So, Wonder Woman, Black Widow. They showed Black Widow last night in the trailer. The scene was pretty hot. She's parachuting out of that, like free falling out of that plane. She was doing some crazy twists and turns and stuff. So, I think it's gonna be good. Black Mass was okay. Yeah, he was okay. He was psychotic. You know, after I say I haven't seen Birds of Prey, I'm gonna skip this stream. All right, thank you, not Thrive, because it is definitely a spoiler. I'm not going to all details, but some of the things that stood out in my mind, I'm talking about. But thank you, man, for coming. I appreciate it. What's up, Mike? Thank you, sir, for joining me. I appreciate it. In case you're joining me, this is a full spoiler. I'm not telling everything about the movie, but certain things that stick in my mind that I thought was cool, I'm talking about it. Like I will say, if you're just now coming in, this is not a great movie. This is not a bad movie. It's in between. I give it a meh, and I also give it under. I was underwhelmed. Certain parts of the movie I was bored. Certain parts of the movie I was entertained. There are good parts. There are slow parts. There are cool parts. There are parts that's like doesn't move my needle one way or the other. Like I said earlier in the stream, I talked to an individual that has much more knowledge than I do in the comic book world. He kind of explained stuff and broke down stuff to me, and I was a little bit more excited about the movie talk after talking to him than I was when I left the actual movie screen. I will say again that I am not a Marvel fanboy or a DC fanboy. I will admit that to me, DC has more interesting and more powerful characters, but Marvel has formulated and knows how to get um, comic book characters and transition them into movie characters and win us over. Marvel has figured out the formula and they have better results in their movies than DCU. Now, if DCU ever finds a showrunner or a uh, leader like Kevin Feige, then Marvel's going to be in trouble. But right now, they haven't figured it out. But is this movie in a step in the right direction? I don't know. To me, it kind of reminded me of a female version of Suicide Squad in some parts. Whenever Harlequin was on the screen, she pretty much stole the screen. Um, like I said, I've never really read her comic books. I'm not familiar with what it was or the Birds of Prey. I've heard of the Huntress because of her affiliation with Batman. I never heard of that female cop. Didn't know anything about her. Rose Perez played the female cop. And Black Canary, a little bit I've seen on on Justice League, what I've seen on Green Arrow. That's how I learned about her. But overall, I will say again, the movie was not great, but it was not bad. I'm thinking about going to see it again. I may give it a second try. But if you are a comic book fan, supporter of comic book movies, then please go check it out. Um, it's worth seeing at least one time. You may like it more than I did. Ninjoy 243 says he likes it. He was surprised. So you may like it, you may not like it, but um, I think it's important and imperative that as comic book fans, we all support comic books that come out, comic book movies that come out. If they suck, then we just say they suck. But if they're good, then that's good for the whole business, the comic book movie making business. So that's how I feel about that. Ninjoy said he liked the Huntress in the film. So did I. She was badass. She was to the point. She was hell and cold with that crossbow. I won't tell you the backstory on how she became the Huntress, but watch the movie. It was pretty good. They tell you all that. They tell you the backstory of everybody except. Well, let's tell you a little bit about the cop. She was a good cop, and basically, she solved these a lot of the big crimes, but her partner took credit for it, and then he got promoted, and she didn't. I think she's alcoholic, either she a borderline alcoholic, but in the end, I think she. Oh, now I won't tell you, but the way they killed Black Mass was hard. It was check it out. That's all I'm gonna say. Harlequin and the girl, they took the Black Mass out. The way they killed him, boy, was cold, boy. It was cold. But yeah, and then there's things that are just unbelievable. I know there's a part where Harlequin is on roller skates and she's being pulled by the Huntress on the motorcycle. And no, before then, she's skating behind the car on her skates. She was like in the roller derby or something. So this car swings, and I mean, it hits the hell out of her. I mean, she should be dead. The impact this car, but it like smashes her into another car. She shakes it off. I mean, I know it's a comic book movie, but she has no kind of protection, no suit. She has nothing that Batman has on to protect them from impacts and stuff, or other heroes. All she has on is like a jumpsuit, no a T tank shirt, and that's all she got on. But she's like taking these incredible shots and stuff, and just shaking it off. Saw a little bit of blood and scrapage on her at the end, but it was just it was crazy. But we've been on 30 minutes now, and that's pretty much all I need to say about this. I don't see any more questions coming on the board. But like I say, I'm going to encourage you all to go see it if you're fans of the comic book world. Check it out. You may like it more than I do. At least DC is getting positive reviews in movies. That's good. I'm glad they are. Like I said, everything that's positive, everything that makes money is good for the whole industry, and good for this genre. So I'm not against that. I'm not going to ever be against that. Like I said, I'm not a DCU fanboy or MCU fanboy. I'm a comic book movie fanboy. I want all of them to succeed, because it's one thing to read it or see it in cartoon form, but to go to the movie theater and see it all these many years later live in living color, I love that. See all my childhood heroes and TV shows and stuff I used to watch, and be like, man, I wish they could do that live action. I'm just waiting, crossing my fingers, wait for somebody to do Thundercats. That's what I want to see. I want to see a live action Thundercats. When they do that, I would be very happy. And also do another remake. The live action remake of Dragon Ball Z sucks. So Disney owns Dragon Ball Z. So please go ahead and put that in your works. Let's get us a good live action Dragon Ball Z, good live action Thundercats. That's what I want to see. Dominican Scott says, I've been a comic book movie geek since I was a child. You and me both, man. I got comic books in my room right now. I haven't read. I've done bought so many. Don't have time to read them between this and my other job. Well, my other two jobs. But I feel you, D. Scott. I've been a comic book movie geek since Superman, Christopher Reeve Superman. Even since the live action Shazam back in the 70s, the live action Spider-Man in the 70s, live action Batman in the 60s, ISIS, I watched all that stuff. Wonder Woman, Bionic Man, Incredible Hulk. If it was something, there's even a 1970 something Doctor Strange live action movie out there. I know, I can't remember who starred in it, but it is a live action Doctor Strange. There's been about 2 or 3 live action Captain America movies. So all that stuff I grew up on. Glad I'm finally seen it on the big screen, done the way it should be done. But having said that, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. Your support is definitely appreciated. Thank you for taking your time. Dominican Scott said, movie, TV, action figures, and video games. Yep, that's me. I want to appreciate y'all for taking your time out your busy schedules to support me. As always, if this is the first time you joining my channel, well, actually, please subscribe to my channel. Also, please hit the notification bell. I don't want you to miss any material that I upload in the future. And third but not least, I want you to give me that thumbs up and leave feedback, positive preferably, but leave feedback, leave me questions. Your questions give me something to discuss and talk about. It also lets you know whether or not you think the material and the content that I'm putting out is something that's going to interest you. Every Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on my channel, I have a countdown. There's a couple of countdowns was who's the best Spider-Man out of all the movies, who's the best Batman, who's the best female superhero. This week is going to be what intro that when you hear it, what cartoon intro, when you hear it, it gets you hyped to see that show. Somebody already said when they heard the He-Man intro, they got hyped. But I'm going to have about 4 or 5 panelists on my show Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and they're going to each get to name their 4 or 5 different intros to cartoons that they watched as children that got them hyped and interested in watching the show. The one I'm going to bring, number one, I'm sure some of you may have heard it, but I'm not going to say what it is. But I'll tell you, it's the hypest intro to a particular cartoon I've heard in a long, long time. So I'm definitely excited about that show. Want you to tune in to it, man. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. So again, thank you all for supporting me. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night today. Be safe. Come back and visit me. Tomorrow I'm also going to be on the show on the Chad's channel. I'll send out a link whenever I get the invite. And we're going to be discussing this movie in more detail and in more depth. So join me tomorrow. It should be sometime between 3 and 4 p.m. tomorrow. We'll be knocking out that show. So again, thanks. Have a good night. Peace.